Hello, it's pilgrimage time. We're going to be doing the pilgrimage run. This is going to be relevant for the monk and survivor characters. They're basically both going to do the same thing. Does not matter if downpour is on or not. I'll talk a little bits when it is relevant and what may be different. Things to talk about first. First of all, for remix settings, there are things that will matter for this run. That being one, we want tweaked tier behavior to be off. I'll talk about why later when it becomes relevant. Additionally, I will have vanilla exploits on. We'll want that for karma caching. We do not need it for the second glitch that I'm going to talk about. It is only governed and only matters if tweaked deer behavior is off. This will help us be able to not have to actually ride the deer. Additionally, for general speedrun things, a few things have been allowed. That being merge fix, mod presets, and music announcements are all now 3 mods that are allowed to be used in speedruns. Additionally, in remix settings, the increased stun times is now allowed. Increased stun times only affects like minor creatures that don't really cause harm. I don't know really what the word for is, but if you consider lantern mice, squid cicadas, grapple bugs, those are the things that actually affects, not actual danger, and so we didn't feel like it needed to be banned. So now you can have that on if you so want. Now let's just get to the run. Let's not waste too much time. This is pilgrimage. Pilgrimage means we need to meet 4 echoes and then go to the end of the game. And each 4 echoes will increase our maximum karma. I'm going to stop trying to touch my microphone and make giant microphone sounds. Additionally, I'm a slugcat today because we can be. I use this model for streaming anyway. Might as well have something extra looking at. Hopefully it's not too annoying for everyone that's going to be watching. We're going to be restarting here. So one thing to talk about to start off with this run is that if you hold S right when you fill this circle, the intro cutscene will not play. And so if you're using WASD to play the game like I am for movement inputs, put your cursor on back, press S, press D, and then press whatever you use for jump to actually input the circle filling. And that'll count as you skipping the cutscene there, and now it won't even load at all, and now we're here. Now that doesn't really matter for the speedrun, but it makes resetting just that little bit more faster. As for speedruns, the only thing that matters is the in-game timer, as I mess up 1,000 different little movement things that are slowly annoying me, but that's fine. We did kind of fast pole climb. Very good. Now, if you haven't watched any of my intermediate speedrun things, I'm just going to be going through and just playing the game, and I'll be talking about things that I'm thinking about and other major things that are happening. When it comes to things that I expect other people to already know, would be basic movement things, so I'm not going to go over every little thing that I'm going over. We are going to go over one skip for this run. I'm going to try to go through fast, as I've gone through pretty long in a lot of my other videos. Essentially, what happened there is we want to, because it doesn't matter which direction, you run, you backflip, you start grabbing it about here, you press jump for the second time, and that jump will slide you up the pole, so you're like here, and as you're going up, before you start going down, you could press jump again while in the middle of the air to then be able to grab this pole. The reason why this works is because if we slide off the pole, it still thinks we're touching the pole, meaning that we can still jump, and so we can jump in the air as long as we're not moving downwards. And that's why that works, and then you can use that in a few places. Additionally, in this room, if we want to get that berry, it's all the way at the top. I'm going to try it once, doesn't matter too much. Then I'm going to try to go to I'm going to try it twice, because I went really far to the right. We're going to eat one of these. Didn't get it. That's fine. We can get a bat fly in this room. Hopefully we can get one of these 2 up top. I failed to actually boost out of the top there, so that's unfortunate. Alright, a few things to talk about this run and just what's going on on my screen here. So you can see all my inputs in bottom right. I'm using the fast roll button, which is bound to what is the Y key on the visual there, but it's actually my space bar. I use WASD JKL, so with L being my jump and J being my grab and K being my throw and spacebar being my fast roll button. Alright, right now we're going to be doing karma caching. This is the major glitch that a lot of speedrun use, and in this case this makes it so that we can just rest once and then we can starve, and then we can rest again, and then starve, and go repeat that cycle until we get the karma that we want. Essentially what is happening is we want to save once, so it saves properly in that shelter. We starve, which does not save properly. We quit out immediately in the starving cycle. We starve just by holding down with our face in the corner, by the way. And if we quit out within 30 seconds in that starving cycle, it considers it as a reroll, and you're free to do that in any run. You quit out in the first 30 seconds, it'll just send you right back to the main menu without having lost karma, which is all good. And we can abuse that because the game doesn't actually properly save on a starve, and so we keep the extra karma from the starve, but we're no longer starving, so we can just keep doing it over and over again. Now we're going to be leaving. We're just going to be doing things. Now, a lot of runs kind of follow the route of what we're going to be doing here today, but we're also going to be deviating off into Sky Islands once we get up the chimney. One thing I want to talk about speedrunning in general is, I know speedrunning can be very daunting, can feel like it's a big thing. At least I've definitely heard that from a lot of people thinking from the outside. I take a speedrunning as a reason to continue to play the game. I don't really worry about the super optimization, getting the absolute best run ever, or all those 1,000 other things. That's why I'm doing guides for intermediate level. This is for people who still know a decent idea of how the game works and what's going on, but want to try to do the more interesting challenge runs or otherwise. I'm specifically doing speed runs because these are well-defined rules. And when it comes to really high level, it's about doing extremely specific strats that are very difficult. I'm going to talk about a few of them when it becomes relevant, but otherwise it is trying to get your movement to a really, really high level. Now you can do another one of those backflip things here. I kind of wasn't even trying to do that, but do that again, and then I'm just going to throw the spear to not really worry about it. I'm going to eat these berries because I can, and it'll make me feel better about food situation later. But you do not necessarily have to eat that. The popcorn in Chimney is a good alternative. Now again, we can play as Survivor or Monk. Those are two different categories, but there isn't too much different. The main thing that will be different is that if this is your first speedrun that you want to try out, Monk will be better in terms of creatures, because Monk has better rep with everyone. Monk also has a stealth bonus. Additionally, you don't need to eat as much, so it's not too bad. When it comes to White Lizard basically passive to you, meaning that you have to step on them before they try to bite you, which sometimes isn't a good thing. Back to kind of speedrun things. I say there's 3 levels of speedrunning. Also, you can just make that jump just raw. You don't need to plant a spear there. Very useful once you get used to it. You do need to press jump to actually climb, when most cases you don't. But for speedrunning, I like to say there's 3 levels of speedrunning. There's the first level where it is just doing the route. So Pilgrimage is meet 4 echoes, then beat the game. Each echo adds a level to your karma. You can get 4 levels of your karma, technically 5. But you get the 4 spokes of the X wheel. Is what's happening. Other place to get berries right here. We're not going to really worry about our friend below us. We just want to grab that pole, and then we're going on up. Kind of boosting out of that pipe. If I press jump while boosting, well, if I boost up with jump and I'm just holding left while coming out of that pipe, it'll go out perfectly every time. Levels of speedrunning. There's the first level where you're just learning the route. Sometimes people just like doing that. Maybe don't even look at what other people do. Maybe try to copy other people perfectly. Don't worry about dying 1,000 times. Just do the run. I always like to find reasons just to play the game more, and sometimes that's all that people want. Next level of speedrunning is doing that route. Now, not making any major mistake. That may be dying, or whatever you may consider to be major mistakes. Here's the popcorn I was talking about. Often you're going to come in with a spear, depending on what's happening. Otherwise, there can be a spear like right here, or up above where that one is. The third level is the super optimization. Ah, I messed that up. Tried to make that a little bit too fast. super optimization of speedruns. And that's getting the absolute best run, doing all the small minor things at all times to do fastest stuff everywhere. I'll talk about a few extra things every once in a while, as I kind of have been, but I'm not going to worry too much about that, although I hope that my guides here can still be useful for someone who wants to really learn the best of the best runs. Now here's a funny little jump here that I'm not really the best fan of. I could plant the spear here, but I want a spear for the next room. And that worked out well. I like to try to jump and try to get back to the left is my favorite thing to do. This guy's not in a good spot, and I want to show off a funny thing in this room that I just saw by watching, I believe it was Shrub from Tomorrow. If you have wall pounces on, you can do that and mess up entirely and fall in a pit. Sick. I actually don't really know how to do that correctly, but you can. Here, there's a few ways to do this. That was kind of funny. I'm sorry. You could pounce across, wall pounce, and actually make it up. I'm not entirely sure how this works, but there's kind of two angles that the wall pounce can give you, as I understand. I believe there's a difference between hitting right in the corner and actually hitting up on the wall. I'm not sure if I'm the best I can explain that, but there is a good chance to actually get up there. The other is, if I'm standing over here and have a rock in my hand, I can jump and throw a rock right as I hit the wall and do a wall pounce that way. Wall pounce is essentially holding diagonally down into a wall while moving at great speeds in the all fours state. So there's like the upright state and there's the all fours state. It just means you've pressed down at some point. So if you press diagonally down going into the wall at high speeds, which if you just throw a rock, it works, or any throwable, and you can do a wall pounce across and make it across. The other one is, if you know double jump tech, we'll like to call it the cloud jump. You can lean up against this wall and you're fully leading, holding right into the wall. Then you immediately press left and then you press jump and then you jump. And then before you start going down, just like the other thing, you could press jump again and then you could plant a spear right here, which was the thing I was going to show. Oh, we actually can still show. I'm going to eat this guy just so I don't drop him. Just some ideas. Also, you can always make it out of this pit, by the way. That's why I'm comfortable here. Always think about potential other things. Okay, I was worried that guy was going to fall on me. Should not have gone down, but that's fine. Don't feel like you need to do these extra fancy things. I just like it, because I think it's cool. I knew that guy was going to appear right above me, but I didn't hear him for a second, so I assumed that he went into the pipe, which he did. This guy above me doesn't matter. A lot of these speedruns, I really like messing with the creatures and understanding how they work. And so, one thing I'm going to say to people speedrunning this game is don't use your eyes for creatures. Use your ears. I'm more listening to the game than I'm looking at it. I'm only really looking at it when I know I need to be looking at it. Like right now, there can be a white lizard, could be anywhere. I'm also looking for a vulture shadow. There's one now. Vulture shadow is good, meaning that it'll scare any potential lizards in the area, but don't see anything. If the vulture even showed up, they're really not a threat, because if you stab them twice, they will run. I really wanted that spear back. Additionally, if they start charging an attack, which is very obvious when they do, and you hit them, they will stop charging their attack. We come up here so we can activate the echo. Once we see the flash, we can leave the room. This is something we must do for the run. To be able to see an echo, we need to be at our maximum karma. This will change over time. I'll talk about why in a little bit. We must be at our maximum karma, and depending on the echo, we must activate it beforehand as well. I just speared that bat out of the air. Amazing. I don't think I've ever done that before. Ooh, come on. And now we're here. All right, it's going to be a main shelter here. So now for Pilgrimage, there's been a few different routes kind of thought. For a little while, it was getting the farm arrays echo just straight up immediately by going from outskirts to farm arrays and then getting the echo, then going back into outskirts and then going up this way. But because we have gotten a lot better at routing a lot better at routing farm arrays. It is actually much better just to go around as we would normally, because we want to go through farm arrays to get to the Subterranean echo anyway, because the wall echo isn't good enough, and the Subterranean echo, well, we're going to sub anyway, so we might as well. Sorry, I'm just thinking about the run. So if I pop out there, I could always do a fast roll. Pop out of the pipe entering this room, I always do a fast roll if I land down on that lower platform. That's what I'm thinking about. Basically what I'm trying to say is for the Pilgrimage Speedrun, I'm going to be showing what is considered to be a fastest route currently. However, if you want to try getting the farm arrays echo first, you can. In a big way, we like to consider farm arrays as kind of separate. There's like the near outskirts side, but there's also just the connection between Sky Islands and Subterranean, which is used just very really often, just because of how convenient it can be and how it's kind of a highway between two echoes. But the echo in farm arrays itself is actually kind of far away. But we're going to be doing a route that has become a lot more popularized. I believe it was Hoborp Infinidae. I'm not exactly sure. Remember who's been doing it a lot initially. But once it started getting used a lot more, we've been using it to go through farm arrays and be able to get the echoes that we actually want. This is relevant for hunter speedruns as well. Be showing that routing once we actually get into farm arrays. But essentially, we're actually going to be going through the scavenger toll when before we used to ignore it. We also have a method to ignore the deer, which I'm going to be going over. Additionally, in the turn storage there. Additionally, in the Hunter Pilgrimage run that I made a guide for, it is basically the same routing there once we get into farm arrays. Now again, although I'm going to be basically going in the bare minimum of places we actually need to go to, don't feel bad about taking extra saves on the way or eating extra food. I've been eating extra food just in case things went bad anyway, but it also helps for food later, which is why I like to eat those bat flies over just get a moment. I want a spear because that'll be helpful. One thing I'm actually going to do, although I can go past this spot and potentially run into a squid cicada, I'd like to actually show this run a little bit better. We want to go across a big gap, and it's much better if we have a squid cicada. Specifically, the white squid cicada is better, because if we have one of the dark ones, if we jump 3 times, they get tired. But for the white one, if we jump 7 times in quick succession, only then will they get tired. And we're not really going to be jumping in quick succession, but that is a net that can be quite good. There can be squid cicada in this room and in this room that we could potentially run into, but we can't always bet on it. So I didn't want to bet on it right then. That is a white lizard. Interesting. Normally we don't run into guys right here, but it's a thing that happens. If we're playing Hunter, we'd be running into cyan lizards. But not today. Not that we go right to left through Sky Islands as it is. Here's the worst room in the game, although slightly fixed with the camera now actually being up in this upper part. We actually can fall here as we want to go this way. I don't really need the squid cicada anymore, but it can be helpful in this next section. I'm going to be going up to the shelter. One thing about this squid cicada is that although we are using 2 hands to hold the squid cicada, if our face runs into a bat fly, we will pick up the bat fly. And if we stand completely still, we will be able to eat it as well. We're going to wait for the flash here. This is where the other echo is. When you re-enter this room, the orange lizards could be immediately right there, which can be quite a troublesome thing. The most dangerous the orange lizard can ever be is to literally be a wall in front of you, because that's when they're actually going to get you. This is a horrible place. This guy's going to be bait for us, except he failed to bite him. Why, video game? Please. So here's the thing about lizards. Although that specifically happening to us with a white lizard isn't something that will really happen, but it is something that you will notice with green lizards. If you just stand still and you let a green lizard approach you after it hasn't known that you're there for a little bit, then it'll be unable to bite you because you've gotten so close to it that it can't actually trigger its bite. Now we're kind of gambling that the blue lizard moved away, which it did. Now we're low on food. We were supposed to eat bat flies we were supposed to eat bat flies while holding the squid cicada and running into the bat flies, and that after I said the second room we could run to another squid cicada. There's like this big area that the white lizard came from that ate the green centipede. That's the room you want to stay in and eat some bat flies. But I forgot about that for a second. Just so we would kind of hope we would run into a... Hoping we would run into a dead egg bug, but this won't always happen. Kind of hoping for bat flies. A newt would be okay at this point as well. There's also a popcorn to the top left of this room. We're not often going to run into spears in this area, however. That is something that you need to be aware of, is that's just not something that's going to happen. Now, blue lizard's scared of the pole plants here. That's why I'm standing right there. Worked out quite well. Normally, I don't get lucky with those bat flies there, but we're all good now. We've activated the echo. We saved here. That's what really matters in the end. Of course, we wasted some time by not actually eating food. Sometimes I can be compensated for by eating food back in Chimney. Now, actually going to go get this echo. The echo is starting to affect this room here, and we're actually just having a full safe venture over there. If we are playing Survivor, there is a drop wig in the room with the orange lizards. And for some reason, sometimes it may not actually fall asleep. However, when we first go in the room with the orange lizards, that's when the drop wig's actually a threat. But you may see the drop wig in here. Just kind of moving around. However, he would have only just spawned. Now, as we get this echo, I'm going to drink water. Because I said a lot of words. Now, comparative to Hunter or any other character that can actually read what the echo says, we don't actually have to leave the screen once we're on the screen with the echo. We can merely just wait there. Now, I love food. This egg bug is always a convenient spawn. This is very unfortunate. One thing I do want to state is the runs are ranked by in-game time. If I paused, walked away for a second, came back, still going to run by in-game time. Something to consider. However, we obviously don't want people to be obnoxious about it. There's actually been some movement that has been found that is pause buffer tech. I don't know much about it yet, but it could be quite an interesting addition to some runs in the future. I've heard some people talking about it when it came to Hunter score running. Maybe we see something with that. Alright, I'm always going to throw things when jumping that gap because I never trust the pounce there because of that slope that I'm on. Now I'm going to pounce and then I want to slide down this way. I wish I didn't actually get up where I went up. Although I can blind jump things, we're just gonna go. I'm comfortable with vultures, so I was okay with going by when he was there. When you do a fast roll, you also can fast roll over the false floor like I did, because you're not actually holding down. When normally if you did like a hard roll, which is a 45-degree angle down, where the fast roll is like a 25-degree angle, then you would actually go through the floor. Now we are here. I've not eaten food. I could have eaten the berries in the room with the orange lizards. But we don't think. We just play video games. So, one thing we do need to think about, however, is we're going to be going by a toll full of scavengers. There are 2 pearls in 2 rooms from now. 3 rooms from now. And we need to get one of them. They're kind of hidden, but we can kind of just fall and get it. We could have gotten a pearl in Sky Islands if we were so inclined, or if we wanted to do the worst room in the game without a squid cicada, which you can do, but I do not recommend. I like to do runs that are consistent. And so the squid cicada makes it consistent. However, you can definitely make going across without the squid cicada consistent if you so want. The other pearl that I'm talking about, in case you fell all the way to the bottom, is it's all the way in the bottom left of the room on like a platform. We're going to take this just in case. The puffball kills all insects. Actually, don't remember if they kill squid cicadas. There are going to be a lot of lizards to these next 3 rooms. If you have a spear, I recommend spearing that wall right there and climbing up. Insects also include the pain cones. Didn't do these movement correctly, but that's fine. One thing I do recommend, if you're just learning any amount of movement, the only things that matter, I know movement can feel daunting as well, but the only things that matter is backflip, roll, and slide. Everything is just variants of that, or is just extremely complicated stuff that involves basically flying. Alright, this is annoying. I'm gonna throw this so I can get my get out of jail free card from that stuff. I wish I would have been able to just jump over that blue lizard, but what are you gonna do? This guy killed a man. How could you? This guy didn't kill a man. How could you? Alright, we want to jump here. Drop it straight down. He grabs it, then we can just pass. If you see them wave you across, then you're also all good. That guy has a vulture mask. Literally how? What happened when I was gone? Why does he have that? Alright, we're going to be saving in this next shelter coming up here. That was cool. So glad that didn't kill me. So one thing to note about creatures. Every creature, except centipedes, need to actually charge up their bite or their grab before they can actually grab you. In most cases that are not lizards, is actually quite noticeable. And that being vultures make a specific sound, spiders make a specific sound, although they also have a soft grab that can also get you, but it's different. For the lizards, it's just a visual cue of how open their mouth is, so it needs to get open a certain amount before they can actually bite you. Additionally, they cannot bite if they're charging their lick. So if they've just licked, they can't bite you immediately, unless they've licked you. In this case, it's like a setup. But if they've licked and missed, they need to spend a little bit of time before they actually do it again. Alright, we're going to be going to the farm echo now. So this is a little bit of deviation of the run. This shelter is a very good position for getting both places. We're going to be going right here, grabbing that pole, and going down. We're going, once we've gotten the farm echo, we're going to be going top left to go to the Subterranean echo. Now we're going to be going down these steps. Now you can just hold diagonally down and jump just to go right across everything. Now you can sometimes get a little bit too far to the left and it can start to look a little scary, but just believe and be prepared to stand up and then jump a little bit. Just keep holding right though. You want to go past that pain cone fast enough. Don't want to see any more bees in my life. But now I did want to make these guides kind of chill. I realize I'm talking a lot. I just have a lot that I want to say. We're going to be going into this echo here. However, it's not here. We also have to activate it. So how are we going to get back? Well, we don't get back. We're just going to jump over here. I'm actually unsure if getting stunned or not will kill you faster. Sometimes it feels like getting stunned makes it so you don't die as fast. I don't really understand why it's like that. So things about meeting echoes. I said earlier that you can only meet an echo once you've activated it and you are at maximum karma. For the Subterranean echo, you can be neither of these things. That being, it's always there. You can always see it. Actually, wait. No, you still need to be at high karma. Never mind. I'm saying stupid things. You don't need to be... For Subterranean and wall echoes, you don't need anything. You just need to go to the location. But for the shaded Chimney, Sky Islands, and Farm Echoes. You need to go to it, activate it, and then come back to it while at near highest karma. Now the puffball technically provides a vision blocker that I could use to get by this guy. We're just gonna get the spear. That's a really bad position. Any position where you literally have to touch them to get by them is always bad. Walking underneath a blue lizard can be scary because it can just drop and fall on you. It's funny because that blue lizard had to walk through this room, which if he entered this room now, he'd just fall asleep immediately. Didn't really want to go up there, but I fell down a second ago. But another thing, echoes. If you've ever meeting an echo, it is your top 2 karma that you can then meet another echo. And if you've met 3 echoes, it's your top 3 karma. It's basically, rule of thumb is on the first echo, you can see other echoes at the O and the single line. And then if you've met 2 echoes, you can see an echo. If you have a line at all, if you have 2 circles, you can't see an echo. And this is the same for the trifecta. As long as we have one of those lines and it has not become a circle, like going down in karma, then we could still meet an echo that needs to be activated. However, we are now at the karma we need to be. Well, we want to get our last one, which is over in Subterranean. Now we're going to be talking about a fancy skip here that you don't need any exploits to do. It is just raw movement. I do not recommend you do this unless you're really prepared to learn it. This is something I'm going to try once or twice because it is difficult. We're going to slide here. We're going to die. Nice. All right. I'm going to get another throwable if I can. Additionally, things about puffballs. If you throw a puffball, it sets a flag wherever it broke for all deer in the area to go and sit down at that location, or at least get near it. When you throw a puffball and it breaks and you hear the roar, a reindeer will always enter the room. It'll either enter from any entrance. So they're going to be either a left or right entrance, and it come from either. 100% chance when you throw one will enter the room and it will go to where you threw the puffball. If you're waiting for a deer to show up where you throw it, I recommend putting the puffball on the ground and you not being in the way of the deer and the puffball, because they can sometimes consider it as you messing with them. Those are my recommendations. All right, slide, jump over. All right, we're here. We're gonna do extended back throw, slide to get through there. All right, I have one last puffball. We're going to be going up here. I'm just going to be holding left. And I'm surprised I made that because I've tried this a bunch of times and I had a real hard time with it. I wish I could go back and actually show it. But essentially for the first one, you just want to slide and go up, get on that one platform. I did the extended back throw slide and do it there and hold left. And then for the second long one, which is the big chance for you to die literally right here, you want to get up on the platform. You want to be, this doesn't make sense. You want to be actually as far right at the top of that little mound as you can. And then do the back throw there. And then do not press jump ever. And just hold left from that point on. Once you have done the extended slide. And so for people who have no idea what I just said, and for people who do know what I just said, just probably find that insane that this even works. Because in a lot of cases, you just can't get by this much grass. You can almost do this for the big grass by Subterranean, but we're going to be using a different thing, which is why we have the deer tweaks off. If you had deer tweaks on, if you're on a deer antlers, you can wiggle the antlers and it'll turn around, or it'll reactivate it, depending on the situation. Don't do it too many times. But we turn that off, which makes it the old AI that it used to have, which is still good, but also carries a glitch that we're going to be talking about. But for people who don't know what that movement was, basically, we press if we're standing up straight as we are now, and we press diagonally down and press jump at the same time, we start a slide. If while in a certain moment in the slide, we press jump again, we can jump out of it. I did that wrong. I've messed up my timing, now I'm thinking about it. Jump out of it like that, makes that specific sound. Instead of jumping out of it, I instead throw something behind me it'll extend the slide and I'll stick to the ground for a while moving at high speeds going in the direction for a long distance. And we use that to actually get past the worm grass because it'll automatically break all of the tendrils that are on us. And right at the end is where it's whirring. All right, we could save here if we really wanted to. I'm going to eat this guy because I can. I wish I had a puffball with me, but that's fine. There's only orange lizards in this next room. It's not like Hunter with evil spiders. Boy, this is not a great setup right now. We don't want them to see me at all here. I'm going to stand here. Their range is not great for how they see, so they can only see straight down, essentially. If they walk by, we're going to be just sneaking up on this guy. We don't make sound when we're on all fours, at least to them. That's not good that guy's coming this way. I was hoping I could have went that way. We can kind of just jump over them once they're down. But that guy's going up. We're going to be going here. And then I'm going to be doing that and going up and around. So when it comes to orange lizard, you don't want to walk into them. I want that spear just in case. But you can get away with a lot more than a lot of other lizards just because they aren't as effective with actually getting you. But if they are physically walling off the area you want to get to, then that's where you got to worry about it. Could eat this centipede, but we have other stuff that we can eat later. I don't need that spear. Actually, do need that spear. I'm going to take that. Thank you. Having 2 puffs would actually be better here, but that's fine. We're going to hope there's a deer here, which there does not appear to be. Having the spear here is good for here, but I probably should have brought 2 puffs and just jumped across from the right. We're going to see if there's deer. There's not. I'm going to throw that puff. I think that deer was just sitting off screen the whole time. For this glitch that I'm going to do to get past this next area, I am going to need another puffball. I don't want to ride the deer. This is the second one that came from us throwing the puffball. We're going to be putting the puffball on the ground right there and waiting for one of them to actually approach. Now that they're here, we want them firmly above the ground. Ooh. This is better if they still have to clear the flag of the puffball that I threw. We want them firmly above the ground. All right, big things. All right, you already noticed things are going weird right now. 1. You must be second into the room to the deer. So if you just threw a puffball and one has just entered the room, you need to leave the room and then re-enter. There's also a little why I just left, just to make sure that this one wasn't one that was just sitting there. Which well, if it is or isn't, I need to make sure. If we are second, we get stuck there and we can't move for the duration of the glitch. However, if we are second, compared to the deer entering this room, we've put the puff on our stomach, then we get to move around. You're going to see a lot of weird stuff. It's not going to really make sense. The camera is going to follow where we are, but we can't see where we are, and the worm grass is not going to exist. To explain what is happening, essentially, the deer really wants the puffball. We put the puffball on our stomach, the puffball has ceased to exist. The deer doesn't know how to handle that because it really wants it. For some reason, it magically moves downwards a certain distance when you do this. If that moving downwards a certain distance goes into the ground, it physics lags the game. And if we are second into the room to the deer, then we still get to move. If we are first into the room to the deer gets to move, as I understand. All other creatures are unaffected by this and can still move. However, the world does not update correctly, which means that the worm grass as part of the room does not update correctly, and we can just hold left and walk through all of this room. And the worm grass does not affect us. If we're on the old patch of the game, we could pause and then it would update the visual and we would be able to see where we were, like it would show us down there. But because this is the downpour patch, does not do that. I now take the puffball on my stomach. It ends the glitch because the deer no longer really wants the puffball, or at least it can know where it is. And we go into the pipe. If we go into the pipe while the glitch is still active, then we are now waiting till the glitch ends, which it will end once it's done updating the physics that it needs to of the deer moving rapidly into the ground, which will take like 3 minutes, which the rain might come in that time. So, things to think about. I really like that glitch. I think it's great. There's other things you can kind of do the mess with the deer, get past there. One of them just being stabbing the deer, and it can kind of float over. But the deer can also be really fed up with you and just decide to leave. The only exit's to the right, which is not where you want to go, so that it doesn't always work out. Which is why we really like to use that glitch as much as we can. Still have to use the deer. I kind of took my time with it. Like way too much time in that room. I should have just went in with 2 puffballs, threw one, had the other one come up to me. I put the puffball on my stomach and then we went. But it's good to show things happening. Alright. Subterranean Echo. Right here. It's always here. Say hello. Hello. Alright. Drink water now. The run is winding down. Amazing. It's only been 40 minutes. It's a decent run. I kind of messed around, but we're going to get like a 40-minute run here. Pretty good. Now, Subterranean can still mess with us. There's just one pipe I like to call the death pipe. It's not actually a pipe, it's just a... Well, it's always weird considering different things. There's a between room pipe, there's the shortcut pipes, and then there's just the one wide pipes that you gotta walk through. They're actually in the room. I feel like everything should have a different name. Maybe one day we'll actually coin terms for different things. But shortcut, between room pipe, and the one wide pipe. That is basically all of filtration. And that one wide pipe that I'm going to be talking about is the one that's right when we're getting to filtration. Additionally, because this is downpour and not base game, we're going to be going this way, which is faster. So if you're running downpour, go this way. If you don't run downpour, you would actually want to go left. So pretend we're in the previous room. Instead of going down, we would go left, go down, and we'll go right, and then we jump down into the centipede pit, and then we would see the kelp in the next room, and then we would see the big room that we're going to be meeting up with that connects to filtration. And so, reason why we go this way is because centipede room, not great. The rooms that are to our left here, that room to our left here, and the lower part, and that room to the right are not great. If there's a creature in the way, there can just be things in the way. The good thing about them is that if you get a spider and you hold the spider in a one wide pipe, you kind of zoom through it. Don't know why. It's compensation for holding creatures in pipes, so you can actually move them. But a spider is already really light, so you actually move faster when you're holding it in a pipe. That's a thing that can happen. We're no longer saving for the rest of the run. We're just going straight to the end here. But this way, we can actually just play the game as normal. Nothing's really in the way except this kelp and the axolotls, although the one axolotl that I'm aware of is already gone. I messed that up. That's real unfortunate. I was already past the kelp. The tip of the spear appears slightly in front of you. Only the tip of the spear actually hits anything. And the tip of the spear appears slightly in front of you. So he kind of curled a little bit too close. Recommendation I have for kelp is to hit it in the air as early as you can. With spears. Rocks don't stun it very long. You can, of course, stealth by it by moving really slowly in water, but that's not the greatest thing. Once it activates, you might as well believe that it knows where you are the whole time. By activate, I mean not in like a dormant, non-moving, curled as body state. I fell a little bit too far there. It's all falling apart. It's all over. Alright, let's keep going. Alright. Kelp. Only the tip of the kelp is the part that actually grabs you, so don't worry about the rest of the body. I should have probably dove to dodge it. Once you're past the halfway point of its body and you start getting away from it, it kind of becomes harder for it to actually grab you. But this kelp is annoying, given its position. You always really want a spear for it, just because the spear is a stun for longer. And I recommend trying to go for grabbing the spear from its body once you've speared it. Throwing spears in water is a bad idea. Don't do it. It'll not go very far, and it's hard to tell where you are. Now that we don't know where the the salamander is, we are a little worried about that. It's eating that jetfish. We'll let it do that. Stab that guy early. I should have did that last time. Sometimes if you're just along the surface of the water, you like dip down and you actually throw into like a wave of the water. And it's like, wow, that didn't help me at all. Because then it just gets caught out of the air and it starts floating to the bottom of the lake there. Alright, pretend nothing happened. I don't like going through that part, so I'm going to go up this way. We can just walk through that part. Looks like I am going to have to walk through that part. I'm used to Saint and just going over everything in this room. We also go through this room with Saint, by the way. I'll be making a guide for Rivulet and Saint next, too. Caramel Lizard. One really annoying thing about additions, that being this area, is that this guy is here. He is probably the final boss of your run that isn't mole lizards. We're going to be running the mole lizards here. This blue lizard is not good news, but he's doing whatever that is. So we're just going to be going. We're going to be going down, going to the left, and dropping the rest of the way. We may not hear anything, but if something's in the way, we're just going to have to deal with it when it comes to mole lizards in that room. Now, I try to not make sound if I can, then drop down this second one and not make sound again. Me landing on the ground like that has made sound. If there was a mole lizard below me, I'm really listening for lizards or any lizard sound, especially when it comes to this room. It really matters. When it comes to mole lizards, once you hit the ground or make sound by walking on all fours, they know that you're there, or at least they get a ping where you were just then. When you're crawling through one wide pipe or on all fours, you're not making sound. When you make a sound, they will light up and they will often make their own sound, depending. They might be fighting, so it's hard to tell. If mole lizards are agitated at all, it might be really hard to see. There's no mole lizards in this room right now. It might be really hard to see, but the tips of their whiskers will remain slightly lit up once they hear anything. So sometimes purposely making sound is good to one, they kind of stop in their tracks. This is not great, but we're going to go for it. That was good. We're really worried. If there's a guy here, it's bad. We might want to go left and then down, and you want to go this way. And then after you've gone straight and hit a shortcut pipe, you're going to go down, slightly left, down, and left. But the best way to go is this way, up. If there's a guy here, just don't go this way. Or at least wait. If you've made sound, they will not move. They will not move from here. And if here, then they drop down here, they're probably going to sit like this guy. And if you try to jump right there, they're going to zip around and bite you instantly. But because neither of these guys knew that I was here, I was comfortable at dropping down and jumping and going. So even though I touched both of them, they weren't really had time to react. But if they already knew I'm there and then I touched them, that's really bad. We're going to see guys potentially on this ladder or potentially just standing right here, dropping down, landing directly on a guy if there's a guy right there. And then potential guys right here. That second spear didn't work out, but that's fine. We need 3 spears to actually kill the guy, but 1 spear will disable them good enough in a lot of cases. Don't know why that guy's going to the right. Looks like we're going to make it over here. There's a guy below us that we're about to see. He's going to be right in front of us. Nope, he got confused. Don't know what's happening. Didn't make that jump. Very unfortunate. Went backwards again. Trying to throw things in the pipe to gain a little bit of speed. Because throwing things throws you in that direction. Which is why always throwing things is good. Unless you know you need something or something. Alright, falling down. Making sure we don't die. Wish we didn't get stunned there. And now we're in depths. I'm going to make a guide for depths on its own one day in the future. It'll probably be with an any percent guide. I might not be the best person to do that because there's a lot of specific depths that are really good for going really far with the movement. But for the most part, it's just hold the direction you need to go. Use the fast roll button if you know how to use it. That being, if you do a normal roll, which is holding diagonally down, you need to jump from a 3 unit height. This is 1 unit. To actually do a roll, but a fast roll, just do it from 1 unit. But, alright, enough of me rambling. That was Survivor Pilgrimage. For Monk, it's basically the same, if not easier, because creatures are really tame. Problem with Monk is that white lizards can be too tame, and mole lizards may not react to the sounds you make, making them harder to know where they are, and if you just walk straight into them, that's bad. But otherwise, if you're just getting the speedrunning, Monk can be real good. Monk Pebbles, Monk Pilgrimage, both extremely good runs. Monk 80% if you want something fast. This was a good, like, hour 20 run. If you spent 2 hours on this run, I'd still say you're doing pretty good. Being this game, I spent 40 hours first time I played this game. Being this game anywhere under 10 hours, especially doing was technically like a secret ending, super good. If I didn't die 2 times in the... Ooh, just gonna pause. If I didn't die 2 times in the Subterranean as is, I probably would be getting a 40-minute flat. By time also will end right when we cross into the Void Sea. There's a point in the Void Sea where the camera starts following you. The timer will stop by its own. All we need for a video, because we need videos for speedrun.com verification. All we need for a video is to see when the timer actually starts, which is when the circle fills in the main menu. We do need to see that circle filling, and till the point where this timer stops by its own. This timer will always be correct. People can use stuff like Live Split to help out and figure out which parts of the run they're going slower on over a lot of runs. Not needed. Just need the run. Just need to see the run. Any other things that you want to have extra is just for your own convenience, like the input viewer. Maybe you want to know how you did stuff. Maybe you want to know how I did stuff. Maybe you want to know how the best speedrunner of this category did stuff. I'd recommend looking at Shrub Speedrun on the base game leaderboard of this run. Very good watch. It is the speedrun world record is 36 minutes. Very good. Additionally, I believe there is a very good Downpour run as well. Does not appear to be. Oh, month of July has a Monk Pilgrimage at a 31 minutes. Now that was what I was really thinking about there. And that was just 26 days ago. So people still working on these runs. That is a very good run. We did a very good run for this kind of talking, going through stuff. This would have been like 40 minutes if I wasn't stupid at the end. That's fine. These things always happen. I always recommend just play the run. Don't just do the beginning 1,000 times as well. I'm just saying things at this point. None of these things matter. Thank you all for watching. I will be doing runs with Rivulet and Saint next time. And let me know what you thought of having a Slugcat here on the screen. Thank you. Goodbye.